Welcome to episode 2 of Browser, where we talk about Albany Public Library's downloadable books and e-resources. We give some tips and make some book recommendations. Before we move any further, this is your regular reminder that both Overdrive and Libby access the exact same collections made available through the Albany Public Library. Overdrive is the in-browser version that allows you to access material from your home computer. Libby, on the other hand, is an app for download that allows us to access those materials on our phones or tablets. Our first segment is Dear Browser. It's our advice column. It's where I read an email out that I may or may not have written to myself 10 minutes ago, and we provide some advice based on that email. Dear Browser, there's a book I really want to read, but it's not available. The last time I couldn't find the book I wanted, I ended up downloading a book on painting cats, and now I've got a dozen feline watercolors on my wall staring back at me as I type this. I'm not sure what to do. Please send help. Signed, At a Loss for Words. Dear At a Loss for Words, I've been there before. Maybe not specifically with the painted cats, but there have been plenty of times where I've looked for a new book on Libby and been disappointed to find that it wasn't available. But that's okay. I've got some advice. I was recently trying to recommend a 1984 thriller by the name of Briar Patch to a friend of mine. Unfortunately, this is the message I got. But all hope is not lost. While the title isn't currently available by Libby, if you scroll down, you'll still see a listing for Briar Patch by Ross Thomas. Clicking on that will still give you the book summary, provide some information about the book. It'll also have a button here to recommend this title. And by recommending the title, you're recommending that the library purchases a copy of it to make it available on Libby or Overdrive for you and others. After recommending that title, it'll give us some similar books, things that it thinks we might also be interested in reading. It'll also automatically put you on the wait list for as soon as that book becomes available if a librarian ends up purchasing it for the library's collections. Our next segment is Keyword Search, where we look at a particular theme and check out the library's collections around that theme. This is the typical time of year where I'd be looking for books on gardening to feature and put on display in the library. So let's check out what Overdrive has to offer in terms of making this year as green and delicious as it can be. We have a couple different options. Of course, if you know the title of the book you're looking for, you can just enter that in the search box and see if the library collections have it. Year after year, I tend to fall back on Mel Bartholomew's classic Square Foot Gardening. All of our copies are currently checked out, which you can see from this wait list icon above the book title itself. Otherwise, we would see this available one. If you click on the book title itself, you can see approximately how many weeks you'd have to wait and how many copies are in the system to give you a better idea how soon you'll be able to get that book. Note that ebooks work just like physical copies of the book that the library might own, in that there are only a limited number of copies available at any one time. We also have a version for kids, which also has a wait time, but it might be a good way in a few weeks to get your kids interested and ready to pick some vegetables. Filled with advice for building kid-sized garden plots and kid-friendly vegetables, this book might be the perfect way to get your little green thumbs out in the garden with you this summer. Of course, not all of us have a specific title in mind that we're looking for, but would rather search more broadly through the collections. In that case, you also have a couple options. You could, of course, just simply search for gardening and see what books come up. There are also different subject collections that'll allow you to search our collections based on a specific genre, theme, subject, or keyword. Clicking on the subjects icon, then scrolling past fiction down into nonfiction, you will find alphabetically listed themes or keywords. If we click on gardening, we see we have 60 available titles to sort through. As we scroll through the collection, we'll see that a lot of the books aren't about practical gardening advice. Some of them might be about conservation, some more generally about health and wellness, or even the natural world of Winnie the Pooh. But you should be able to find everything you're looking for here. Whether you're looking for gardening to fit in your small apartment space, or for growing out on windowsills, or whether you're looking for larger projects. If you're looking to get your kids involved and excited about gardening this summer, you might want to recommend to them Tom's Midnight Garden. a graphic novel adaptation of the Philippa Pierce classic. Pierce's story is about a time-traveling boy, an enchanted garden, and a beautiful friendship. For even smaller green thumbs out there, I'd recommend We Are the Gardeners by Joanna Gaines and Juliana Swaney. It's a fun, beautifully illustrated story about a family planning to make their summer garden. Our final segment of the episode is Book I Wish I Could Read for the First Time Again, where I recommend a book I wish I could read for the first time again. The book that I wish I could read for the first time again is Willa Cather's 1925 novel, The Professor's House. The novel balances what Cather calls the stuffy interiors of family drama and loneliness with the fresh air of Southwestern adventure and exploration. It is a fully formed masterpiece and beautifully written. And now we'll have Willa Cather's Explorer take us out.
A fringe of cedars grew along the edge of the cavern, like a garden. They were the only living things. Such silence and stillness and repose, immortal repose. That village sat looking down into the canyon with the calmness of eternity. The falling snowflakes sprinkling the piñons gave it a special kind of solemnity. I can't describe it. It was more like sculpture than anything else.